Hello, my name is Anna and I'm running for VP Welfare. My pronouns are they, them, and my main strategy for this campaign is to stand for equity. I will listen to what you have concerns about, I will understand what you want me to do, and then I will act accordingly.
Hi everyone, my name is Esther. I'm a postgraduate TESOL student from Northeast China. I like cooking, going to coffee shops, and vintage clothes. And I'm also passionate about how to promote students' mental health and provide them more support and intercultural communications, trying to reduce the discriminations and cyberbullying on campus.
Hi there, I'm Heng Li. Currently, I'm a master's student majoring in translation studies, and also I'm an international student. I have a lot of hobbies. I love cooking, I love cats, and I love chatting with people. Here I'm standing for VP Welfare because I have witnessed some first-hand challenges by our students covering mental health issues, financial difficulties, as well as discriminations. So I would like to make a change. And thanks to my previous experience as the Vice President of the Student Union in my undergraduate, and my current experience working as a change agent in one think tank project, I am determined to fight for the best interest of you. So if you trust me, please vote for me. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Hope. I'm a fourth-year student of Sociology and Politics, and I'm running to be your next VP Welfare. I've held several positions on various society committees during my time at the University of Edinburgh, but the position I'm proudest of is my current role as Women's Liberation Officer. In this role, I've collaborated with various feminist societies on campus such as Sanitary and Girl Up. I've led protests against sexual violence on campus and against the current legal state of abortion in Scotland. And I've advocated for the well-being of women students at the University of Edinburgh on the Student Council, Senate, and Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Committee. I'm running to be VP Welfare because I want to expand upon the work that I've done so far and represent the welfare of all students at the University of Edinburgh in a full-time sabbatical role.
My name is Iñaki Goni. I use they, them pronouns. I'm a fourth-year student here at the University of Edinburgh studying history. I'm half French, half Argentinian, and I would love to run, and I would love to be the next VP Welfare officer at the University of Edinburgh. My four main points to improve welfare at university are make it more visible, more accessible, more effective, and really fight for intersectionality and inclusion within all welfare services and beyond at the University of Edinburgh.
Hi everyone, I'm Kalyan Garika. I'm an international student doing my Masters in Public Policy. After coming to Edinburgh, I actually faced many struggles because of this housing crisis and cost of living issues. And I also saw that there are many other students like me who are facing these housing crisis issues and living crisis issues. And there are many other issues that are happening in the university for instance, be it transphobic issues and everything. And I feel that university has to take care of all these issues and it is failing to do so. I think USA really has the capacity to make some changes in this. So I think I raised my voice against these issues and I wanted to represent you people by standing in USA elections. So I just need your support to win these elections.
Hi, my name's Lauren Byrne. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm currently your Vice President Welfare, and I'd like to be again. If you re-elect me, I'll work on tackling violence and discrimination, advocating for inclusion and liberation, and supporting students through hardship. I'd like to continue my current work on the university's handling of gender-based violence by getting them to commit to accountability and transparency through having a policy that can be continually updated to keep meeting students' needs. I'd also like to work on the expansion of learning adjustments to make sure that students from wider participation backgrounds are able to access their studies equally to everyone else. And finally, I want to continue pushing the university to recognise the impact of the cost of living crisis on students' mental health, given it to be a particularly tough time for everyone.
Hi, my name's Roya, and I'm running for a Vice President Welfare Officer. I am also running, I'm also a law rep at the moment, and first-year law rep, and I am trying to transition for welfare officer position so that I can change some policies in regards to the safety and well-being of all students on this campus. And my main focuses will be to make sure that all students have access to disability services, other services that are required of, such as complaint services or any services that students need in order to make sure that they're taken care of while living and studying at University of Edinburgh.
Hi everyone, my name is Steve. I am in the last semester of my philosophy and politics undergrad degree here at Edinburgh University. I am standing for VP Welfare. Things I am standing for, amongst others, are cross-campus inclusion, not just to represent people on Central Campus, my campus, but to give equal representation to all students, whether you're from Central, Easterbush, wherever. This doesn't happen just now, this is wrong. To make campuses safer is a priority for me. I am on the Student Discipline Committee, and from my time there I am fully aware that campuses are not as safe as they should be. And also to give a voice to the marginalised. I myself am from a widening participation background, thus I have some experience in understanding what that means to be from a marginalised cohort here.
The first step in dealing with the university ignoring the issue of transphobia and violence would be to first understand what exactly it is the students want me to do, and then I will make it the university's problem.
So in my opinion, the phobias comes from lack of knowledge of a certain new things. So I think it's very good to let students know how it goes, how it's really are, and maybe provide some more gatherings, like make people introduce how it works to other students. And in order to make students' voice heard, to let students know their voice are heard, I mean, the emails are always be a very good way. And there also can be a lot of posters in students' accommodations, and teachers can also inform students, like in one class or workshops where people can really talk about a certain thing. The teacher can inform the students, yes, your voice are heard.
As we all know that discriminations of all kinds are unacceptable. But in the reality, we all may face someone with homophobia, or there are rapists scattered around the city. It's sort of inevitable, but we have to address the kind of issues. Currently in the university, we have some kind of measures to tackle those problems, such as the celebration of the Pride Month. However, we're not doing enough. So I would like to make a change by launching more campaigns, more activities to share the story of those marginalized people, and also by providing more courses to ensure equality of all kinds across the uni, and also to promote the kind of belief not just only to the students of the uni, but also citizens of the Edinburgh and of the world, so that keep doing that, we can make things better and to tackle as many issues as we can. Thank you.
I've been an active participant in these protests. I was honoured to speak at RT's anniversary protest in February against the lacklustre improvements made to the university's sexual violence redressal system. I also spoke and delivered a statement at the University Senate condemning the insufficient changes made to the Code of Conduct. Our current processes for survivors are not fit for purpose. I believe in facilitating further student engagement on issues of transphobia, sexual violence, and more, and I will serve to relentlessly advocate for student well-being in every room that I am in.
So one thing I want to do is to make the university more accountable in regards to its equality, diversity and inclusion policies, so that we make sure that it really does follow and protect students to create safer environments. So that would mean working alongside liberation officers to make sure that all students have their own safe spaces that they can be at and be themselves and feel safer within them, as well as supporting students when they protest, when they want to show their anger to the university. I think that's a very important part of the student experience, to show the university that there are problems and that people need them to change, as well as changing some of the university policies in regards to these issues, such as changing the support they give away from spaces that were created by transphobic people such as J.K. Rowling, as we know that one of the main sexual support spaces given by the uni is directly funded by her. And I also feel like as a trans student already, I would be able to better understand students who are in these positions, especially related to transphobia, and be very strict and critical with professors and staff and other students.
So it's really a good question, because I have also been a part of these actions that they are taken against these sexual issues. So I think that I'll just meet all the organizations or the unions which are already raising their voice against these issues, and I will join them. And as a representative, I think I have a little advantage of being a voice of many thousand students. So I'll just include all of them with me, and I'll just lobby with the university authorities regarding these matters, and make sure that these issues are getting sustainable solutions.
Currently, the onus has been completely on students that have been affected by these issues to advocate for themselves continually, rather than the university stepping up and actually showing that it's committed to tackling issues like transphobia and gender-based violence. We're seeing too many students left to handle the mental health implications of feeling unsupported by the university, and the university is hiding behind reasons like academic freedom and sort of legal confidentiality issues to avoid actually having this problem face on. A lot of the time what students need to see is actual visible action being taken, but also a willingness to actually talk about these topics with students and engage with them. If re-elected, I would work on as much as possible amplifying the voices of students that are affected by these issues and making sure that they have access to the right people at the university to speak to ensure that real change can be enacted in a meaningful way rather than in a tokenistic way.
So the first line of duty I would start with in regards to the situations in regards to sexual assault on campus and the issues that we're currently facing due to harsh policies and other harsh climates at this institution. I first would want to change the policies at the institution in regards to the complaint procedures. I'm currently on the Law Council, and I have been fighting alongside many survivors of sexual violence on this campus for quite some time. I went to the recent protest this year in 2023, and I protested alongside many other students in regards to the harsh environment that sometimes University of Edinburgh has. However, I feel that I can change this. I can change policies and procedures with what I know about the procedures and who I know and have spoken to on campus with other teachers and staff, and hopefully we can come together as students and teachers to change policies that can better the future for all students and make this a safer campus, because I know that I want to live and study on a safe campus, and yeah, I hope that we can do that together if I'm elected.
So the first thing I would do would be to make sure that the student voices are heard and that they're heard by me if I was to be elected, and I'd reach out to the people who are prominent in making, whose voices need to be heard. I would probably try and utilise a network as possible if that was required, and then this feeds into one of my main manifesto points. I don't think campuses are safe enough. I'm on the student discipline committee. I know that they're not from my experiences there. So one of the things that I would like to do is to get to the root of the problem as well, which is to make campuses safer in the first place. I suggest that active bystander training should be rolled out across the university to all new students, and that all students should be made to be actively aware of what sexual violence is. Addressing the immediate problem though of how to get the issue heard in the now from the university, I'd imagine access would open up significantly to whoever gets elected in these roles, and we'll take it from there.
The main improvement I would like to see on the student support model the university has is to give them more resources so they can respond to the students' needs in a timely manner. Because from personal experience, I've noticed that that is the main issue. We don't get the support when we need it.
So a good student support can consist of two parts. One is for the mental support, and another one is support their materialized life. And if there are a lot of new students this September, and I think according to my previous experiences, I was so afraid of getting into a new environment. So I assumed that this kind of similar situation will happen to my fellow students as well. So I think it's very important to provide them accessibilities to informations. It's like they have to know what thing they can do, and they know things and they can do things accordingly. And also the accessibilities to the facilities. They can use things to do things, which will make new students more relaxed during their life.
Showing our care to new students is essential because it's really important to ensure a sense of belonging to our international students or new students who's local. However, a lot of people may feel a lack of sense of belonging. For instance, in my first semester, I don't feel part of this community because of the culture shock thing. So we should do something to prevent such issues. So in my plan, I have 3 level plans. First of all, in the university-based plans, universities should provide more opportunities and activities for new students to feel this sort of a global of international students together. And second of all, in the school level, schools should also establish some groups of common interests for new students to join, and they can make friends with each other. And third of all, when it comes to accommodation, there should also be something provided by the accommodation provider. So for instance, in my accommodation, the RA sometimes organize some activities on his or her own to make sure that everyone can be inclusive. So that's what we need to do to tackle the lack of sense of belonging.
I'm eager to see how the university plans to roll out its new student support system and how it will benefit students at the university. However, I feel that the ideal student support system will take elements of our current support and meld them with new elements. For example, I think that many of our current support systems are under-advertised and underutilised. Many students aren't aware of the support that's available to them through their schools. Moreover, in student counselling, when I accessed it due to experiences of sexual violence, I was really grateful to be able to speak with a woman who could better understand what I had been through. And I believe that all students should have that opportunity to not have to perform emotional labour in their counselling sessions, and that's why I'm going to push for the hiring of more Black and minority ethnic counsellors so these students are able to choose counsellors who better understand their experiences.
So to make student support services better, I think it's really important to listen to the students, but also to make sure the students have the knowledge of these services. So one of the main things I will try to make sure as a welfare officer is that student support services are more visible and accessible to everyone. So that means maybe more regular reminders so that people can know where that there is support available and there are services available. I also think that the in-person counselling at university, which only resorts to 4 sessions, is very little, and I would like to see less focus on websites and apps and more support on more emphasis on actual in-person counselling for students who really need it. And I also think that this should be made more intersectional and inclusive, so understand that every student is different and that everyone will need their own way of coping and of dealing with welfare issues, because now it's just an overarching service that doesn't really account for personal and individual needs of students. And I also would like to make sure that professors and staff understand the need for it and that they state services to students before.
So the good student support at Edinburgh is like, we really have a good student support till now, but what I feel is we are not reaching out the more number of students. The advice place and the counseling services and the well-being services that university is offering is really a good thing, because I had experience with those. But I think that there are many students who really couldn't know that these opportunities are available. So I feel we need to focus on reaching out more number of people and reaching out, bringing out some innovative ideas like talks on this, or video presentations, something that can help the students to attract towards these things.
In order to have meaningful student support at Edinburgh, I'd like to see students have to advocate for their own needs, particularly when they're in hardship or even crisis, as much as possible. So that would mean staff being as well equipped as possible to help students with their circumstances, and also that this support mechanisms be able to be accessed at any point, not relying on students talking to staff member after staff member and getting redirected around. Good student support should be able to be accessed at any level and involve our systems communicating to one another. It should also be supportive of students from all backgrounds, and students shouldn't have to explain their backgrounds, their identities to staff members. If you're having meaningful staff support, it's really important that training encompasses all different aspects of the student experience.
So my first line of duty for changing policies in regards to making sure all students receive support would be addressing students' financial needs. I know that that's a big issue right now, especially with the cost of living crisis, and in regards to many students studying abroad, a lot of people are dealing with a lot of different financial issues, and that's all very understandable, and something I would look into getting more support for students would be higher grants, more access to grants and funds, and perhaps more free meals. We have a free meal program at Potter Row every Friday in the morning times between 9 and I believe 12. And I feel like we should have more programs like that to make sure like no student is hungry or nobody's left behind. So in regards to support, I would definitely make sure that all students are fed and have money in their pocket, and I think that we should be distributing the wealth at this institution, because I think that's something that's doable with just looking into what our budgeting is and making sure that all students can have access regardless of gender, creed, or whatever it may be.
So good support, student support here at the university for me would look like empathetic, knowledgeable, understanding, well-trained individuals. Now, we know that there's problems with the personal tutor system, and that's why it's been replaced. I've had very good experiences myself, but I know from others that it's very much potluck, and I'm one of the lucky ones. So it seems like the right thing's being done, certainly. I've not had experience of the student advisor model yet. It's not happened to me in my school. I'm going to be missing it because this is my last semester. But I'm very much in favour of the change happening. And I think that, yes, I think I will give it more time before passing judgment on how that's going. Should I still be here? But yeah, what I said initially about good, the empathy, well-trained individuals is something that doesn't happen with the PT model often, far too often, and this is something that I'm sure, I'm somewhat optimistic that it will be, perhaps not sorted, but will certainly be majorly improved, I expect, from the new student advisor model.
The main thing I would do when advocating for the university to prioritize student well-being would be to raise awareness about it, because I understand that it is very important that the teachers have the right workload, but there is also the factor of the students. So firstly, I would raise awareness about it and then slowly move into acting on it.
I am so aware of this extremely stressed for students, especially for the last of the semester. There are a lot of assignments just squeezed, a lot of deadlines squeezed in 1 month. It's so stressful. And for this specific question, I assume it will be helpful to let teachers know they can divide those deadlines, like 1 week, one deadline, and another deadline will be giving students some time to get used to it, get used to those new subjects, new courses they're working on, and have some time to relax after submitting one assignment. And also, from the perspective of our school, we can provide some study seminars, like students' gatherings, helping students to deal with their academic issues or academic difficulties. So I think that should be very helpful.
As we all know that strike is quite common across the UK, but it could not be common across the world. For instance, I'm from China. Strike is not that common in China, so probably for students from China who haven't been experiencing the kind of conflicts, it's really hard to accept the truth that strike is quite common in the UK. Of course, I totally respect strike thing because it is the right behavior for teachers to earn their equal rights. But how can we ensure that all students can feel a little bit compensated and they are part of the community even with this sort of strike thing? First of all, enough funds should be provided to all students. I think last year there's a fund, but not all students affected by the strike have equal right to that kind of fund because it's limited. So from my perspective, I would like to increase the fund and give more opportunities to students across the uni. And second of all, a better negotiations between teachers and the uni should be established because we have to know that teachers are the supporting roles of the uni and really have to maintain their equal rights. So a better negotiation should be done and to make sure that all students and teachers have equal rights.
I completely understand the concerns of staff. They're overworked and underpaid. However, we shouldn't let this be a reason that we neglect the needs of students when applying for extensions in special circumstances. Not everyone has an easy time at university and many things, including mental and physical health, get in the way. As VP Welfare, I would make sure that I am constantly advocating for students' right to apply for extensions in special circumstances and for these to be approved. It takes a lot of the stress and pressure off of students who are going through hardship, and it's really important that we listen to our students when they tell us that they just need a little bit more time to get something in. It's really not that difficult.
In regards to special circumstances and extensions for students, I think it's very important for students that these are in place and that people can actually use these services to make sure they give in the best work they can. And sometimes these extra couple days are very necessary for students. So like one of the things is to make sure staff actually know that like these extra days are necessary for students and that they can't be just cut off. And I understand that staff needs their time, and with all the strikes that fully support, I think it's just a need to talk with the university to make sure all needs are met. And I feel also that special circumstances and extensions can be more streamlined, and that the application for especially special circumstance, which is long process that you don't know whether or not you get it until the very end, can be made in a more smooth manner so that all students can feel comfortable applying for them and don't have to stress about whether or not they'll actually be able to get it or not. So yeah.
To be honest, I didn't go through the new changes that happened to the special circumstances. But I feel that there is another issue. these special circumstances, there are many students who really don't know how to apply for these special circumstances. There are few eligible students who are neglecting to apply for these special circumstances. I feel that then if there is a possibility, I would think that we need to increase a staff member or a person who can guide students to apply for these special circumstances and guide them to check these eligibility criteria. And someone from the USA might be helpful. Some staff from the USA, they can help the students to get these special circumstances. So I really don't know about the changes, but I think that there need to be some member to support a student to apply for the special circumstances. Thank you.
Extensions and special circumstances are a really valuable resource for students that are trying to manage their studies. Ultimately, students are good and approaching their assessment with integrity, but a lot of our assessment just isn't inclusive by design, and until that is the case, then we need to make sure that students have access to these resources, even amongst other important priorities like staff workload, to accommodate for the number of different circumstances that students come to their degree with. For example, childcare commitments, caring commitments, difficulty managing deadlines, maybe due to ADHD for example, or ongoing mental health conditions. In order to make sure that all students can access their assessments fairly and equally, we need to prioritise their access to extensions and special circumstances and amongst these other priorities as well.
I personally have been affected by the special circumstances and extension forms many students have during this current, during previous and current academic years. And I feel like, again, this could be changed very easily by changing how we are able to apply for special circumstances, and also making sure that all students are able to access these applications more easily and be able to understand what their rights are, when the deadlines are readily available, and having perhaps even more deadlines available for students who might be impacted by a busy schedule or disabilities, or might not have understood originally what was required of them. I believe that this is something that's easily changed, and I will definitely make a change in regards to making sure all students are able to access special circumstances form or access disability forms, whatever forms that they need to be able to access. I will make sure as a welfare officer that all students are taken care of at this institution.
I will be, if elected, I would be advocating for this in the same way that I have been for the last 2.5 years. The last 2.5 years I've been student parents rep, and this is an issue that comes up all the time. It's an issue for me personally in my studies and my extensions as well. I have young children, and the extended deadlines is something I always feel I require, and it can be a bit of a fight to get it. I understand that the whole system of extensions was kind of modified about a year ago. I don't think it was modified enough. I'm very familiar with this, and I would very much welcome the opportunity to be that would come with a sabbatical officer position, to speak to the people in person who have some power in this, because I do not have those opportunities thus far, even as a student parent rep. I could make my case, if I could make my case heard by these people, I would like to think that I could have a positive influence in addressing the issue of how hard it can be to get extensions for good and valid reasons.